It's that live interview with Noah Hiles. Check it out. All
Welcome back,
up.
everybody, to another episode of Memory Lane. We've done a Pirate, we've done a Steeler, we've done a Penguin. Now it's time for a Pitt Panther, and when you look back at the history of Pitt athletics, I can't think of I can't think of hardly any other people who are going to be more interesting to go down memory lane with than a three-time All Big East point guard, a former All-American, he's throwing up the X right now. Carl Krauser joins the show. Carl, how are you, my man?
Let's still breathing, man. Salute to everybody, man. All love, positive energy to the world. RNJ to everybody, and thank you for having me, my man. No.
Glad to be with you, Carl. And you threw up the X. Let's just start there. A lot. Some people learn about the Bronx from the Yankees. Some people learn about the Bronx from music. Young Noah Hiles was watching Pitt basketball and saw number 11 going up for a layup and throwing that X up. And that's how I learned about the Bronx, New York. When did you start doing that?
I started doing that around 16 years old, like 15 or 16 years old. We was playing in Rucker Park, in the most famous Rucker Park in Harlem, New York. We used to Rucker, everybody in PBC tournament. We show up to everybody. We going to promote everybody. We going to show up. Ooh. So playing with these guys, Team Posse down there, we had a good guy named Bevon Robin who played at Fordham University, Eye of the Tiger, and it was a lot of controversy who was representing better for New York City. Was it Queens? Was it Harlem? Was it Brooklyn? And there's a lot of these teams out there and a lot of great players, but we are the only symbol with "the" in front of the borough and the Bronx right there, and then at the same time the X right there that symbolizes in the last letter, in the Bronx. So it was like, man, we're gonna throw that up so that the guy on the mic who we said, where's the Bronx at? And we stood up, everybody, we walked over there, he was like, yeah, the crowd got hyped, that X means something because what people don't understand, everybody says X marks the spot, right? So that X marker spot is in Bronxdale Projects, and outside Bronxdale Projects is like Wakanda, so outside projects, inside Bronxdale Projects is like Wakanda, but outside it's like we have love, the BX connect, like the whole globe, the whole circle to the rest of the world. We just show love to the rest of the world. That's why we created hip hop and everything else.
I mean, that's an interesting story, and just the way you always represented your hometown, I thought was really cool. And just we're gonna get through your Pitt career and everything, but the fact that you had some of your best games in your home city, getting to play in the Big East tournament and everything is really interesting. But I want to talk more about you growing up in the Bronx. From what I remember watching you, you could describe your game in a lot of different ways, but I think the thing that stood out most about Carl Krauser was he's a competitor. I mean, there would be times where you would rather die than lose a 50-50 ball or a rebound or just diving on the floor, doing whatever you could get not even a win, but just win the possession. And how do you think growing up in New York built that competitive drive in you?
It helped me a lot, man, because we had these different games called frees, where the free is with like 30 something guys on the court, 20 something guys on the court at any given time that are different ages, and are different, from different worlds, So we're all competing with this one ball and to put in one basket, and the game is 32, and playing by two. So picture this, I used to be so short. I used to win the games over all the taller, older dudes. They used to get mad, double teamed it. I'm still shooting like this. Man, they used to be pissed. Oh, they used to be mad. But I'll be out there shaking, working on my handle because that's working on angles. That's working on getting past multiple defenders. And also playing physical, getting hit out there with your elbow, or other people headbutting you or tripping you. All of that helps you play through adversity. Play through being angry, play through being frustrated, play through a cut, scar, jammed finger, jammed thumb, something, anything. So it was like we constantly had to prove ourselves every day in New York City. We constantly had to show that we were willing to fight and we were supposed to be here. We belonged here. So with that said, with playing with veterans, different veterans that I played with, I've learned how to just channel all of that anger and just bring it out to positive energy and dish it out to your teammates because every possession counts. That's what we talked about. Every possession counts. Each individual possession counts. I don't care if it's on offense or defense because each individual possession can help you win the game. you know, and at the same time, you know, that loose ball that you might not think you can get, you might be able to tip it and it hits another guy's leg on the other team, and now you have a possession. Possession now goes to you, and it might be 4 seconds left, and you giving your chance to another team. I mean, you giving your team another chance at a different opportunity. You know what I mean? Just that rebound, that tip out. You know, I'm just saying, I always go the extra mile. That's why a lot of people know about the intangibles I had. The intangibles were special because I learned it from the Bronx, New York. I learned seeing guys like Rod Strickland, you know, Dwayne, God bless, Pearl Washington. I learned by seeing Jamal Tinsley, Skip Lou, Ray Austin, different guys like that, and more. But being in that city, man, it prepped you and they got you ready for so much because in New York City, when you're 16, 15, you're playing with grown men. It's called the Unlimited Tournament. You know, so I played in multiple Unlimited tournaments at 16 years old. And that's at 16, I first played in Rucker Park too. So, and that's how I got my name, that old Black Magic. But Blade, like being from Bronxville, playing in the projects with other people that don't really play basketball. And so I would use them, no disrespect, as workout dummies. It would be my workout dummy. I know you'll be like, I know you don't really play ball like that. You out there with Timberlands with your leg rolled up with jeans. You know, I got you, baby. Let me just hold you down real quick. Get some of this chef life. Let me just work on my angles and how to get to these spots. Let me work on my flow to the going on the left. You know, let me work on different things. And this is the things I used to work on. Floater going left, floater down the middle, floater going right, floater from the 3 point line. See what I'm saying? Floater from half court. This is the things that makes you special when you're already practicing these things. The between the leg Tim Hardaway move, but practice not to stay low. And people understand that. The lower you are, the better you are. So I learned how to be a coach, a teacher. I learned how to be a friend, a teammate. I learned how to be a solid factor that can help people in any aspect of the game. And that's what people have to understand. You have to learn to be a role player. So in the Bronx, New York, first I learned how to just, learn the game individually. And then later, I learned how to be a team player. And then I learned how to be a role player. And then I learned how to, I mixed that all up and I just took over as leader. So everything my age, I would lead.
So I wanted to hit more on Black Magic. I mean, you kind of answered a couple questions there. Playing at Rucker Park at 16. Take me through an average day of playing at Rucker Park. Is it always like organized tournaments, or is it sometimes it's just you're running fives and it's just like that?
Nah, we have hood teams and we have people, in different years we have hood teams and in different years we sponsored by record labels, different years sponsored by different people. So like my first year, it was funny, because for people to understand, when I actually filled in for the guy Belvin Robin, I got my nickname that day, that old Black Magic, by throwing between the leg passes. But leading up to there, I was in the park because people knew I was always working on my game because I didn't want to stay in the projects. I didn't want my family to stay in the projects. I didn't want to be nobody's old charity case. They're talking about, oh, he's this, he's that. No, I'm a person that's going to work hard and get my family out. So I used basketball, so they knew I was in the park. My man J-Bo rides by, he sees me. He stops, he's like, hey, yo, you can go to Rucker? Now, at this time, I can't go to Harlem. I'm not, my mother's trying to tell me we call our mother my mom, so my mom's just telling me, hey, you better not go over there, you can't go over there, so I never, like, trying to play that game. So, he came by, he just looked like, he was like, yo, Evans are coming, and we need you. Yo, that's what you had to tell me. I was prepped and ready. I was already juiced up playing in Rucker Park. All I could hear is skip to my little alley ball, the Black Widow. All I hear is these guys and my people come back to the park. I was tired of that. I was sitting there like, yo, in New York, we super competitive. I'm sitting in my head like, yo, I'm better than them. I can't wait to show them. Like, I can't wait to show them that I'm better. So, when we getting that call, we getting that Jeep Cherokee. I'll never forget it. We getting that Jeep Cherokee. And we get on that highway, boy, that Brooklyn Boulevard highway, boy, I was shook. I was nervous. I'm telling you, man, I was shaking like booty meat. I'm telling you. It was different. I was like, oh. I was like, man, what? All right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna focus and act like I'm not real nervous because before every game, I get nervous and like I get anxious to do well, but I'm kind of nervous because I don't know what's gonna happen. It's that big question mark of going down there with those pros and those grown men and everything else, what's going to happen. You don't know if it's shootout, you don't know what's going to happen. So you pull up, you get there, and there's a garage, it's like a parking lot you pull into. cars, Rolls Royces, BMWs, all their cars and everything. It looks great. People got money out there, music blasting, everybody's doing stuff, girls out there, ladies, everybody. So it looks like a whole like party right there in the parking lot. So that makes you even more a little nervous. Like, damn, they're already like, this is nothing to them. They're about to go in there and just play ball, hoop it up. Man, I'm sitting there like, yo, this is how you get your name because in New York City, it's kind of like being a basketball player. Sometimes they gotta get like you almost a rapper. You gotta go out there and promote yourself. You gotta go out there and promote your name and promote your album. You gotta go out there and promote your style. You know who you are. So I used to have to go to different boroughs and places and tournaments to represent who I am and my name. You feel what I'm saying? By myself. I didn't have the things that guys like Andre Barry had, or Brandon Knight had, or Tim Scatterstow had. These other guys getting help and everybody. I didn't have that. That's why I was always different. So when I got there and then I started walking in with the team and he put me thick jerseys on, I'm like, oh, I have a bucket jersey on, I have bucket shorts on. When I seen the lights, when we started walking to the park, my number one thing is it's showtime. The lights is on, it's showtime. I was like, Coach, the lights is on, it's showtime. I just start rocking back and forth, get ready. Oh my God, oh man, I'm sitting there so hyped. I had a guy on the mic, he's getting close walking into the park. And this is a typical day how your nerves feel. Every game you walk into that park. Because it's celebrities, rappers, movie stars, it might be a vice president in there, it might be I don't know, your local chairman, it might be anybody, but there's cameras in there, there's people. So what you want to do every time is I want everybody to know my name as soon as I get on the court. I want you to understand you're never going to see a dude like this play the game the way I play. It's different the way everybody else plays. I have more of a I don't care, but a structured control. You know what I mean? So I kind of I bring it out, but I bring it back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'll show you some flash, but then I'll show you some control the game, control this. But I'll get crazy on defense and go for a steal, but I might get there and get a charge. Oh, you know what I mean? You got to mix it up. I might close out, but I can get back. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I might direct. One coming on this side, big man, one on this side. They running, I got you until you get back. This is how you communicate when you're a young guy. So if I'm doing this thing, when I got to pit, it was already too easy. So it was funny when I'm playing against these grown dudes, and I played against NBA players and different players. When you get in the Rucker Park, it's so different. It's like your heart just keeps smiling, man. It's going crazy. When you hear the guy on the mic, he makes you nervous because he's going crazy. You better have some game, boy. Boy. Hannibal, my man Hannibal. He's on the mic. He got a WWF belt, but he knows a big belt, like bigger than Macho Randy Savage belt back in the day. You know what I mean? And he's like, he got the mic. He all cock strong and deep. Yeah, boy, you better have some game. You can't come and make up your own nickname, boy. I'm like, hey, nah, I'm not on it. I'm not on it like that. I'm good. You watch. So I get a couple of passes, we get down, we get a couple of games going. I'm on a fast break. I throw that between my legs and trap it up here, look over here. It was like, oh. Now, mind you, when I have the ball in my hand, and before that fast forward, when I'm on the layup line, oh my God. When I'm on the layup line doing these things here, everybody's dunking, everybody's doing this. I'm so nervous, I'm scared to miss a finger roll in a layup. I'm like that nervous. Like, Booker is that insane, like real. So, Mary J. Blige might be there, Ed Lover from MTV Jams, Puff Daddy might come in there. You might see Redman, Method Man, you might see Cameron, Jim Jones from the Dipset come through. You might see anybody, so this is how it was fun. It's fun because this is impression. This is fun. This is how you get your name. So you got to compete to show people you belong at this level. So anyway, when I went out there and I did that, after I did that pass, man, like everything, all my nervous, all my anxious feeling just went out the window. It felt like it just flushed through my feet, like my feet right onto the court, and I just controlled the court, until Bevon came. Soon as Bev came, guess what? Now I'm 16. Soon as Bev comes, to the bench. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, even though I was killing and doing my thing, even though I was killing before, I had to pay my dues and be a role player, and I had to, learn how to follow before I was being elite.
So would you say you learned more about the game of basketball from playgrounds than you did playing organized basketball, like in high school or AAU?
And no, it's not that.
You were on a really good AAU team, were you not?
Right, I was on a super good AAU.
You played with like Jay Williams, didn't you?
Jay Williams, the Duke. You just forgot Jeff McMillan played at USC and Fordham University. I played with Paul Bacard, played at UCLA. I played with Sammy Gallenberg, played for the 76ers. There. Played for Desmond O'Brien, was #1 New York City basketball player and broke Kenny Anderson's record. He went to Seton Hall, UNLV first. Played with one of the best point guards, Buddha. Guy Larry Jennings, he played in New York City, like a lot of different players, and it just kept switching, because people would come from different places. I played with you. Reggie Bryant from Baltimore, he played at Villanova and went the same time as Malden. There was a lot of people, but yeah, man, it was, I would say, it's a different type of learning. It's a different type of learning. When you're learning in the streets and you're learning more life values along with basketball values. You know what I mean? As far as, just being tough on the court. So we talking about being tough. So not allowing anybody to push you. Now not allowing anybody to persuade you to get angry and control you by being angry and taking you out of your game. That's a part of life, and that's street ball lesson, and that's basketball. If you feel what I'm saying, what we call two. So it's different when you learn from a coach in college. Now you're talking about scouting reports. Learning about your person's tendencies. You know what I mean? How many dribbles does he go left and pull up with? But he likes to go hard, he goes right. Stuff like that. So those are different type of teaching. So I would say I had a proper amount of both. Probably more off the court and street ball basketball stuff. Because when you playing structured ball and you get to college, you're learning terminology more so than you're being taught. It depends on who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So me, I was learning more terminology, field cut, different like that, close out, stuff like that. You know what I mean? In high school and stuff like that, or prep school, there's no such thing as field cutting. There's no such thing as, look, we're gonna watch film. You watch film on this guy over here. They don't care. Look, you put the athletes on the court, you go do your thing. AAU, athletes on the court, you go do your thing. Okay, that's it. The thing I love best about AAU, my coach Scott, he would be so tedious with it. After we come out of McDonald's, get something to eat, hey, get the ball, get the bag. Look, come on out. Now we're gonna run plays in the parking lot. So we're practicing our plays in the parking lot of the McDonald's, and people going through looking at us. And people like, wow, but you really are getting a simulated version of what plays are running and how to get through them. Because, like I said, AAU, you picking up new players sometimes different weekends. So it's different. But when you have a guy telling you in college, man, about these runs, about these different things, about these 21s and these suicides and this other stuff, boy, hey, you got to be with it because you're trying to get somewhere, so you're not trying to let anybody deter you from where you want to be, what you're trying to accomplish. I don't care how many times, how many times the coach is wrong. Sometimes you just got to hold it in, suck it up, and be like, you know what? All right, let me talk to coach a little later. Maybe he might see things my way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sometimes some coaches don't, but hey, it's the way you go about certain things, and if it doesn't happen anyway, you gave it your best shot, or you did it the way you were supposed to do it, the right way.
So you talked about how playing on the playgrounds gives you kind of that toughness, right? And dealing with the life lessons and everything. Do you think that made you kind of a perfect? I mean, you played in the Big East when the Big East was the Big East. It's not. They still have the Big East now, but it's not what it was. Do you think that? Because a lot of guys who did well in the Big East, they grew up around where you grew up. They were New York guys, and they would come and they would play at the Syracuses, the Pittsburghs, the UConn, and they would have that tough, gritty basketball. And you think that went hand in hand, that they grew up playing that tough brand of basketball, and it translated to playing well in that tough brand of basketball at the next level?
It does, man. It plays a big part because if you grow up playing like softball, we can all tell the people from the East City, the B City, like the B side, the East side. We from the East Coast, we come from this side is different. We grew up playing this hard hitting,
smack you in your face, get right back up, get thrown out the air, caught in the air. You know how many times I got thrown out the air, hurt my tailbone? Man, I'm talking about from high school to the court, football players playing with us, I'm supposed to play with us, throwing us. I'm just saying, this is crazy, man. You got grown dudes tackling you out the air. This wasn't normal in other places. You get what I'm saying? Like, what we had to go through as New Yorkers back then in the 80s and 90s, man, God bless these kids' heart. They couldn't make it. Like, you would be in the house relaxing, or you would have stopped playing basketball as a whole. Like, hey, look, basketball's too rough, okay? Forget football, forget basketball. Mom, how about baseball?
And Jay.
Handball a real sport? You know what I mean?
What's
Like,
golf like? Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
geez, tennis might be cool.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was real, like, the Big East was the closest thing you got to the NBA. The Big East was literally from Allen Iverson, Ray Allen, all these dudes, Jerome Junkyard Dog, Derrick Coleman, all these dudes, man. Like, Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, all these dudes, they out here, boom, those are physical dudes, I mean. Those are big guys. Those wasn't no, you know, skinny minis. They weren't looking like KD. They was with Kevin Durant coming down no Big East. What? Even Ray Allen was a little chisel on the thing. You know, you seen him on
That
the
was Jesus Shuttles. Yeah, Jesus Shuttlesworth, man. I mean, he wasn't
The
small.
sharp shot, yeah. He was lifting. Listen to the Calhoun.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm saying. Excuse me.
You're good. But to build on the Big East, I mean, I was looking at some of the players, just the list of guys that you played when you were at Pitt, and we're going to get into your time at Pitt here in a second. But Emeka Okafor, Carmelo Anthony, Jerry McNamara, Ben Gordon, Gay, what's his first name? From
Rudy.
UConn. Yeah, Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay.
Kevin Pittsnoggle, Kyle Lowry, who's still doing it. Jeff Green, who's still doing it. And Roy Hibbert. I mean, these are names. I mean, these are guys that were lottery picks, and you know, they were ballers. And yet everyone just kind of went toe to toe. It didn't matter your pedigree, it felt like, because anyone on any team could go off any day in the old Big East. It was just that competitive.
And Jay.
You are correct on that.
So what brought you to Pittsburgh? I saw that Jamie Dixon played a notable role in your recruitment when that was before he was the head coach. What?
No.
Okay,
Look,
what got you to Pitt?
I'm help you out.
All right.
And this is not against you. This is for people in the whole entire world, And I want y'all to make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel called Krauser and check that out, man. Hit the like button, subscribe too. Now back to live action. Jamie Dixon. Get what I'm saying? Dixon was like the quiet guy on the side. Like, Howland would send sometime, like, if he couldn't make it. So Ben Howland would be like, hey, Jamie, Carl's over here. Just go say hi to him. And so I'll be at an AAU game, and I'll see this shaky-looking dude in the corner looking creepy. Like, yo, like he needs a trench coat or something. Like, what are you doing here, man? Stranger danger. Like, he would sit there and be like, sending the thing like, and it's like the flow, the progressive commercial, like flow, like nobody sees you. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, you have to say something. Like, I used to die. So when Ben Howland came to see me in Los Angeles, but he came to see me in Long Island at a Hopshire tournament he was playing, and he brought the Pittsburgh jersey over to the hotel room. And when he brought that Pittsburgh jersey over there, white, and it had, you know, the blue numbers with other gold type around it, man, and it was looking so nice. I put that thing on me. I'm like, oh, it feels good too, man. And it had the Adidas logo. I was sponsored by Adidas all my AAU days, and man, it was so special at the time. You know, it wasn't the fact that it was that coach. You know, because I didn't know that coach. He wasn't like a big household name. He just came from a different school, a low school. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So why would I be in awe of him? Why would I be in awe of Jamie Dixon to be like, oh, I'm from New York City. I'm getting recruited by everybody else in the world. Why would I be in awe of Jamie Dixon coming there to style in his fashion? You know what I mean? How's that helping? So I was saying that I wanted to play in the Big East. I wanted my family to be able to come in that Madison Square Garden when my dad used to sneak and watch games, when Spike Lee goes and watch the games, when Michael Jordan dropped 60 buckets, when Kobe did his thing, when Willis Reed won the chip, when my people was out there singing their song like they couldn't stop singing. when people was out there just enjoying themselves in New York City and around surrounding areas and coming in from Connecticut and all over, when you came to see me, I wanted you to understand my family is going to be so proud of me because I have these people standing up in Madison Square Garden, the Mecca of basketball, screaming, Krauser, Krauser, or throwing up the X, or one of my favorites, let's go Pitt, let's go Pitt. You know what I mean? That's not like, it makes me go crazy. It's like, then you hear, come on, the team fight song over every fight song at every school. They was mummies. They was quiet. That's what I love. I love shutting people up. I love when you tell me I can't do it, I'm doing it. I love when they told me I couldn't make it to the VGs and I couldn't make it to college, I did it. You know, when they told me I couldn't graduate with a law degree, I did it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anything you say, anything. I was doing it. You know what I mean? Besides the NBA, God bless. But this college experience, representing, going out there in that garden, that's part of the reason why I came to Pitt. Working for Charles Smith down on Wall Street when I was a young fella before I came to Pitt, that's a part of the reason why I came to Pitt. See, I used to watch Charles Smith. My dad's a Knicks fan. Anthony Mason was one of my favorite players. I'm watching Charles Smith and the rest of these guys, John Starks, Greg Anthony, and all these other guys, hit, elbow, Charles Oakley, rebounding, going crazy. So I have no choice but to adopt that. Derek Harper locking up with the handshake, moving you any way you want, like you're a controller, like he's the analog. You know what I mean? Like, I made sure I took bits and pieces from everybody's game and added on to mine so I can enjoy this. So when I knew I had the chance to bring my mother and father and my other family members, my sister and brother, my niece and nephew, in the garden to watch uncle play or their son play or their brother play, I was like, man, I got to take this opportunity. And then at the same time, it's a 45-minute, 50-minute flight. You know what I mean? From New York. So I was like, it's kind of easy because I didn't want to go to UConn. I told the coach early at St. Thomas More, tell that man, Calhoun, I do not want to go there early. You could stop recruiting. Stop sending the tall, light-skinned brother in there. He's not going to help, okay, because he's black. I'm with it. I'm cool. I'm not with it, okay? So, like, I can see through. That's another thing coming from New York. We can see through the bull crap, the 52 face. We can see through the bull crap. So we don't want to be around people that, hey, look, you know, when I come to practice this today, if I don't really have it like that, this dude is going to try to go crazy and disrespect me. And then I'm going to have to go at him in a way because he thinks he can talk to me like this because he thought it was like every other kid. So I know his pedigree back then. He used to get people in trouble and get you picked out. So I was like, I'm not joining that. And he's best friends with my coach, and I don't like my coach in St. Thomas More, so why would I go to UConn? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But
so you go to
everybody that Big East is real.
Yeah. So you end up at Pitt, you redshirt your freshman year, but while you were redshirting, you were in charge of pretty much helping their backcourt get better, and they had a talented backcourt your freshman year with Julius Page, with Brandon Knight. What were practices like there? I'm sure they were incredibly competitive every single day.
Nah, practices were super fun. I can't lie. Practices were super fun, super competitive, man. We went hard every day, man. Like we were in that mode where we're throwing each other into the stands, into the chairs, and we're hitting each other, and we're doing this because all that built up frustration and testosterone around men. And you have to actually hit and do stuff and set screens and stand there, you know, and you look, our appearance was built on defense and making shots, you know, and being tough and being solid and just making sure, like I said, you maximize every possession, whether it's on defense or offense. So we have to get the possession. So we worked on blockouts, we worked on closeouts, we worked on all of these stuff, standing up screens. We worked on everything, you know, closing out properly, not running up on the defender so you get crossed. You know what I'm saying? So we worked on everything to make us better. And then always contesting shots, jumping to contest shots. Not this fluke stuff they have these kids doing now with this. That is the worst thing to see people do when you play basketball. Put your hand up like this, and then the dude just lays it up over you, or he shoots it over you, like he's never worked on that. We worked on that every day. So hearing, like, I would try to get like Brandon Knight and Julius Page and Jerron Brown more comfortable with their ball handling because we need you to make more plays. Instead of just, you know, sometimes you got to call this pick and roll. You have to do this.